Yeah. 1212 is the Capital City Podcast. I'm your host, Capital J, alongside my main man,
DL Glass.
And we rocking out this week, partying like rock stars, which is good. That's a good segue for this week's topic, right?
Yeah.
This week we're talking about overdosing on fentanyl. And how many rappers have overdosed on fentanyl. And how much of a problem it is in the hip-hop community. In light of Gangsta Boo passing away recently, you know, it's a good time to talk about it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, where we always start, DL? The beginning. Now,
it's a tough one.
Hey, I'm just saying. First of all, let's talk about this from a hip hop perspective. All right, let's go back to the beginning. When did MCs, like? I'm not saying that MCs haven't always done hard drugs,
right?
But somewhere in the recent past, we started promoting hard drug usage in the music. That wasn't something that we used to do. You know, and I know that, you know, you go back and you look at Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, these dudes are obviously coke heads back in the day. And a lot of them, I mean, you just look at, you could take one look at these dudes, you tell me you could see it in Melly Mel's face sometimes, you know. And then it wasn't like you had to guess. I mean, you know, some of these dudes end up being crackheads later when crack was introduced in New York City. And you're not going to try crack if you're not already familiar with the powder. Right?
Right.
For the most part.
Yeah.
So it's not like hard drug usage hasn't always been in the community. But they didn't promote it. They didn't rap about it. I mean, you heard White Lines. White Lines. But that was kind of a warning song. You know, a lot of those, anytime you heard anything about hard drug usage back in the day, it was a warning. You know, I remember the Beastie Boys coming out. And that was the first time I heard anybody talk about hard drug usage and coming at it from a glorifying standpoint or making it sound fun.
Yeah.
You know, that's just what I'm using. So, but I just thought, you know, that's them. There's some white guys, crazy white dudes that sing punk rock.
That's what they do.
That's what they do, you know. So I still didn't think of it as something that many black people were going to be that into. And for a long period of time, every time I heard hard drugs mentioned in a hip hop song, it was always talking down on the person.
Right.
Like, that dude is a bass head.
Right.
You know, or that girl do anything for the rock. Or, you know, leaned over on that H. You know, there's always some old disparaging comment.
Right.
And then somewhere along the line, man, you know, people sipping on some scissor. And we already talked about this, man. That ain't nothing but a hard drug right there. It's not weed. It's not a couple of drinks. That's some codeine. Anything that ends in "ine" or anil.
Right. It's a little different. It's
kind of hard. Or fiend. You know what I'm saying? Methadone, heroin, you know, and it has a medical name, you're dealing with something strong. And that infiltrated our community. And now here we are today, you know, rappers are dying of hard drug overdoses in their prime. This is not after, you know, we used to a few guys kicking the bucket later on in their career, you know, after you stop hearing of them. You know, oh man, he overdid it after it was all over. Like a Shock G, for example.
Right.
He's not in his prime anymore, so, you know, but now, man, rappers are going up out of here.
It's crazy because thinking about the term designer drugs.
Right.
That, in my opinion, is automatically associated, excuse me for being, I guess, if this offends anybody, being ignorant, but it's always been associated with rock and roll to me.
Yeah, that's a very rock and roll thing. Designer drugs in general, kind of.
Listen
to me, it implied cocaine. Really, like when I think of the era where the term designer was used, like designer jeans, designer handbags. To me, all that was introduced in the 70s, 80s.
Yeah, I always think of it like a person. You know what I mean? Like somebody is making it. That's
Right.
just my introduction to the word designer drug. It's like it's man made. And
I always thought cocaine. When somebody said designer drug, I think about what designer jeans were compared to Levi's. I always think Levi's is weed.
What's the Lawrence Fishburne movie?
Designer jeans were like Gloria Vanderbilt. That was the cocaine of jeans. You know what I'm saying? So I always consider designer drugs to be something expensive and associated with expensive people. So crack is not a designer drug.
No.
Right?
No.
You know what I mean? But cocaine, designer drug.
But the pill that makes you high is designer drug.
Ecstasy, I think, kind of became a designer drug, even though it wasn't, well, I don't know.
No, because it
might have been kind of expensive too.
Yeah.
In that, because this is just a personal experience I had. I remember we took a trip to Mexico. We were partying one night.
You did designer drugs.
No, I didn't. I didn't do any. But this dude offered us one pill. He said $80 for one pill. And I was like, "Is this how much ecstasy and Molly costs?" Like, you know what I'm saying? I was totally unfamiliar.
Right.
But he said, "But you could split it up between the 8 of y'all."
Wow.
One pill?
Right.
But this I mean, who knows? I might have been getting fleeced, but I didn't buy it. And we decided to pass. But something that's $80 for one pill, to me, got a designer tag on it. Designer handbag costs more than the bag you get at Walmart.
Right.
Designer drug, I expect, if you buying one pill for 8 people for $80,
it shouldn't be
that ain't something that you getting on that you and your homeboys gonna scrape your money up and spend on. You know what I mean?
You're right. That's crazy.
Shoot, I tell you what, some of this expensive, strong marijuana is designer nowadays.
It's absolutely designer.
That's designer,
man-made.
Yeah, when you when you go from spending $100 for an ounce to $1,000 for an ounce, you turn weed into a designer drug. But designer drugs have infiltrated, and designer drugs are stronger than normal stuff too. You going to another level. Like the more you spend, the stronger whatever it is that you're getting. Right. But the problem is now that we got hard drugs in our community, man, dudes dying left and right in their peak. Why they still good for something.
Right. Damn.
And I'm not saying I know, but yeah,
damn.
I know that was harsh, wasn't it?
But
I know that was a terrible way to put it.
Fentanyl is harsh.
It is, and that's the culprit of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Fentanyl.
Right.
Took Lady Boo out of here at age 43. Almost killed her brother too at the same time. He brought him back and could not save her. Took Mac Miller. Lady Boo, Gangsta Boo was no longer in her prime. I'm not even going to pretend that she was in her prime anymore. But
she still was.
She was 40s. Still active.
Yes, touring and
Mac Miller was arguably in his prime,
20s.
And he was still hot like that.
So many recent ones.
Right.
How you go from Gangsta Boo to Mac Miller?
Because we talking about fentanyl.
Yeah.
And the people that sold it to him got locked up. So
they got locked up recently.
Yeah. Yeah. They gave me 11 years, I think, something like that.
Wow.
I don't quote me on the time, but
I see it more and more in the news now.
Mm-hmm.
The dealer is getting charged.
Right. Because this is a substance that's highly regulated, or should be.
Absolutely. 50 times more potent than heroin, 100 times more than morphine. Or 10 times more than heroin.
That's insane.
50 times more than heroin.
I saw a video of a police officer open a trunk with some fentanyl in it, and they just passed out. So just a whiff of it in the air,
right,
can knock you on your ass.
Damn.
So you know how careful you gotta be
Right.
dispersing something that powerful. And you talking about people, this people with PhDs, not street level drug dealers. But sometimes the street level drug dealer is the one deciding how much fentanyl you get in your illicit product. Is that the person you want dispersing something 100 times stronger than morphine?
He up to?
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So we got a problem, ladies and gentlemen.
Can I hit this?
Yeah.
People dying in 2022 fucking with fentanyl. If you're gonna be an addict, you might need to go back to crack. Crackheads live longer than anybody. You still see them around. That fentanyl shit is way stronger. If you can't shake it, go back to crack, man. You're gonna be funnier. You're gonna live longer.
Lil Boosie,
Ladies
and gentlemen. Hey, I hate to say it, that's the realest shit he ever wrote.
He didn't even write it. It was from the heart.
And you know what's sad about that is as much damage as we saw crack do, crackheads do seem to be preserved.
Now they just smoke.
It seems like they're preserved. Like, they look terrible. And it knocked the weight off of you. If you're a crackhead, you look like a crackhead.
You look like a crackhead. You
right.
still look like a crackhead.
You still look like a crackhead.
But 20, 30 years later, you still here.
But yeah, I don't know a whole lot of people dead from crack. I know a lot of people dead from the activities around crack, like
heart attack,
breaking in people's houses.
Heart attack is one.
Heart attack. Oh yeah.
I know
heart attacks.
Heart attacks and strokes.
Yeah, but that's usually after years. That ain't the first time. But Leon Bias went up out of here first time he smoked it. Allegedly, first time he smoked it. But everybody else, dudes be lasting a long time. But eventually, any drug is gonna ruin your health over time. There's nothing you're gonna be able to do. You can't drink for extended period. You can't even sit and spin around and smoke weed for years and years and years and think your lungs gonna just be fine later. You know what I mean? So anything you do over a period of time is going to take its toll.
Even if you're sitting in the sun too long.
Yeah, anything. So, but this stuff right here, man, take you out so fast. Like, let's see, who have we lost recently strictly from fentanyl?
A young boy, Scar, they said.
Big Scar?
Yeah.
Yep, prescription. Well, it says prescription pills, but.
What else is it?
I don't know, but it's not too many doctors going to prescribe you some fentanyl. You start thinking about codone, hydrocodone,
you can't
OxyContin.
OD on that shit.
Yeah, you can OD on that too.
Right.
You can take enough of it to do the same thing to you that fentanyl will do.
Right. It'll take longer, but fentanyl's so strong, and this synthetic drug is so strong.
Speaking of that, that takes us on a side street for a moment.
Yeah.
Synthetics. Shit. I think that should be the real thing that we talking about. Like, you remember when that synthetic marijuana was out?
Like K2.
K2, K9, whatever it was.
K2,
yeah, that stuff, it looked kind of marijuana-ish. But when you start dealing with, like, their natural highs, like even cocaine, like the coca leaf, these workers in the Amazon jungle would suck on a coca leaf while they worked back in the day because it gave you a pep. It wasn't the same thing as doing cocaine, but there's the natural way that people use these drugs.
Right.
And then every step that man has made to make this stuff more stronger and more potent has made it more dangerous. Like, there's weed as it naturally grows. And then, look, you take it indoors, you put it under a lamp, create certain circumstances, you get something 20 times stronger than anything that would grow naturally in the woods. You take that same leaf that dudes used to suck on to work more, and you process it and break it down, turn it into a powder. Now it's even more dangerous. You take that powder and you cook it up with baking soda and all that, and now it's even more powerful. And then it gets to a point where you just skip the natural process altogether. There's nothing natural in fentanyl. The same way there's nothing natural in that K2. And that stuff makes you crazy. And here we are after all this time. We were slapping the wrists of people who were using the natural versions of all these things, never knowing that every time we tamper with it, we make it worse and worse and worse. And here we are ended up with something that a whiff of it would knock you out. An accidental whiff. You know,
It's crazy.
one drop in your drink could kill you.
Right. Because you never know how your body's going to react to it.
And that's what people are trying to use for recreation now.
And it was supposed to be used for pain.
Yeah, and for pain, it's, you know, there's some pain that probably needs fentanyl
Yes.
to alleviate. You know, I can imagine there's certain types of cancer, or, you know, there's all kind of pain that I can imagine that you would need something that strong for.
Right.
But they had already gone as far as they could go with things that involve natural medicines.
Uh-huh.
You know, like heroin, it was a natural medicine. Cocaine, you know, it came, of course, it's got some processing involved, but all of this stuff started in hospitals. You know, there was a time when cocaine was in Coca-Cola. That's why it was called Coca-Cola. And, of course, small amounts. You know what I mean? And now we're sitting here with something that's all the way artificial, and it can't be, you know, it's too strong to do anything with. And as you said, Big Scar, Gangsta Boo,
Right.
we know Mac Miller, Shock G. I would argue that all of these people thought they knew what they were doing with the drug.
Whichever drug it was.
Whichever drug it was.
Right.
So that's how easy it is. And all of these people also use drugs all the time, a lot.
Right.
So we're not talking about people who trying stuff for the first time. So we're talking about something so strong that people who use drugs all the time can't even safely use. That's how bad this is right now.
Right.
It's just, it ain't safe at all. So anybody within the sound of our voice, if you like drugs, stick with crack. Nah, that was Boosie said that. But seriously though, this thing ain't nothing to play with. You need to educate your kids now, because this stuff is finding its way into everything. And so many rappers making this stuff sound cool now that, you know, it's only a matter, like, kids love doing what rappers say do. I remember, like, weed, some people always smoked weed when I was growing up, but when Cypress Hill came out, weed became a bigger deal because they were so cool.
Right.
Dr. Dre, when he was a gangster, everybody wanted to be gangster, but when he put the Chronic album out, everybody wanted Chronic because he was so cool.
Right.
And people like Future talking about hard drugs, he's cool to a lot of people. And since I've seen the influence that cool people can have on stuff, it's time to educate your kids about how easy you could die. Like, you know, a hit of the Chronic ain't gonna kill you. And for a lot of people, I'm not even at all for cocaine, powder form or crack or nothing. Mm-hmm. But I mean, how many people died the first time they tried cocaine? Nah, you know what I mean?
So which one do you think people should go back to, crack or cocaine?
Oh man, the powder all day. Like yeah, it's true. crack is the worst thing that ever happened to our community. Everything today that you think is a bad place to be was not so bad of a place to be before crack hit it. Most of these places. You know, things were a whole lot more peaceful in the streets before crack. I'm trying to tell you, man. Anything like, and that's just on the strength of it being that addictive. But now you have something that's addictive and deadly.
Huh.
And this is, you know, but I can say that I don't see everybody on it the way that everybody was on crack either.
Right. And do you think it's related to more of the crime that's going on? Or you think that's something different?
Nah, I don't think fentanyl's driving a crime wave right now.
Yeah.
I think what we're seeing with crime is, I think it's more the result of the pandemic. 2 years of life altering times.
Right.
Like things just changed so much for so many people in so many ways that you used to get money. Like think about what going in a house for 3 months shut down for people. Like if you had money in the bank, maybe you got through that period.
Right.
But if you didn't, and some of those jobs never came back, then there's gonna be a lot more crime on the other side of that. You can be for certain. But also where there's crime, there's more drug usage. So I think that the rise in usage is also related to this pandemic. You know, people sitting around with nothing to do.
Yes.
You know, they're just trying to forget about all this. And you find something that takes you off of that, your mind off everything that's going on. And like you said, if it's 50 times more powerful or 100 times more powerful than morphine and heroin, then you don't even need it. Like, think about how much heroin you had to buy to get that high. And you could probably get, fentanyl's being produced, I'm pretty sure at this point, it's being produced cheaply.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be processed from a plant. It doesn't have to be grown. You know, you take a whole lot of the manufacturing cost out of something if it could be produced cheaply in a lab. So it's easy to get. I can imagine that a lot of people got turned out during the pandemic.
But so it just makes me wonder, because I haven't heard a track and I hear music, and people are very vulgar nowadays,
aren't they?
Yeah. So I don't remember hearing any tracks about getting high off the fin.
No, but that's the problem. The problem is that it's being used to make everything else stronger, more so than people just purchasing direct. I think the consumer is not out here looking to purchase straight fentanyl.
That's where I was going. Yeah. So
I think you're getting heroin laced with fentanyl.
Right.
Or you think you get heroin, you're getting fentanyl.
So it's almost like, here's my conspiracy theory. It's almost like we got a serial killer out here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Sneaky, and you don't know where he is. Because sometimes he's on your weed. Sometimes he's in your scissor. Sometimes he's on your coke. Sometimes he might be in your crystal meth.
Your heroin.
Might be in your heroin. But you can use it to boost the power in anything. And I think it's being used indiscriminately to make other drugs kick a little harder by people who can never possibly be safe enough with the dosing of something that powerful. You know what I mean?
Well, I think there's a science to cutting it with it to stretch it.
There has to be a science. But like I said, how many of these dudes are scientists?
That's the terrible, yeah.
You see what I mean? And right. like you think about how cocaine used to get stepped on over and over again. Before you know it, you probably got a nose full of everything white. except cocaine.
Right.
You know, and depending on what dummy is cutting it,
Right.
you know,
Depends
you
on
see
what he
here
cut it
baby
with.
formula, Aunt Jemima's
Yeah.
pancake mix, you know, some of anything,
Right.
flour, anything white and powdery, mess around and go into the mix, and even that had a science to it.
Right.
But you know, and then you see folks get stuff. It's like, golly, this stuff is killing me. Well, you don't know what is in there
What the hell?
because whoever is handling it is not a scientist, not a
And not
doctor,
board
and not
certified.
even smart, and they don't care about you.
Right. About you.
Right.
Because if somebody die off my shit,
Right,
I mean
they
my
don't
shit.
right. So yeah, that's a huge problem, man, and that's the scary thing. Is like once the person's dead, there goes the investigation too. Now you don't know. It's hard to tell because what they find out. Well, they had cocaine and heroin in the system. So along with the fentanyl,
Right.
So you don't know if they did some cocaine and some heroin, or if they bought some cocaine that had heroin and fentanyl in it,
Right.
or if they bought some heroin, did the cocaine with the heroin, and the heroin had the fentanyl on it. You can't ask them.
But you know, so remember we talked about, I can't remember who it was. They had his cause of death listed as prescription drugs.
Right.
So fentanyl
That was
is a prescription.
that was Big Scar.
Big Scar. It is prescription drug, so it will list the cause of death as a prescription drug.
Right, but that's so vague.
Ago.
You know, and what
It had fentanyl. That's what I was trying to. It had fentanyl in it. That's why it's
right,
That's
right,
crazy.
but that's still a vague ass cause of death.
You wanted them to say because he had this much cocaine, this
Right,
much fentanyl,
and you don't even know if he had it. Like, okay, it's a prescription drug, but did he have a prescription? You see what I mean?
No,
Right,
because this has to be administered.
and you know that they make, you know, that, like drug dealers got pills. They can make pills now.
Yes.
Look just like prescription pills. So is it really a prescription drug?
Yeah, because you need a prescription to have it.
Yeah,
get
but
it.
you can get a prescription for weed. But they don't never. If somebody smoking weed, they don't say, "I found a prescription drug in his
Nobody's OD
in his possession." Right, but I'm just saying.
Right.
I mean,
It's not like K2.
cocaine. You can still get.
you can't
They
get a
still you can't get a prescription for it, but I mean it's still being used in some hospitals.
Yeah, but it's not. It's still so regulated. Like you can get.
Hey, matter of fact, though, I don't think you can get a prescription for fentanyl right now.
Yeah,
Can
you
you?
have
You
to.
can get an actual prescription, and
Yes.
a doctor would send you home with fentanyl.
No.
Right? You can't
Not
get a
saying that.
prescription for it no more.
Well, you got to get a prescription passed to the pharmacy to get the fentanyl. That's what
I
I'm
mean,
saying.
but
You can't
that's
do
what
that
I'm
with
saying.
cocaine.
Like, are they really even going
What
to give
hospital
it to
give
you
out
outside
cocaine?
of a hospital setting?
No.
Well,
But that's why it's prescription, because you got to have.
oh, you
that
to
paper.
even get it in the hospital. you say,
hospital,
right,
yes.
right. I got you.
Yeah.
And
I think it's safe to say if somebody is on hospice or comfort care, and they getting their final treatments in the home, and the pain is severe enough, and they can afford for the doctors and the nurses or whatever to be there,
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure they could give it to them. Oh yeah, because Prince.
what was that they were giving Michael Jackson? His doctor was coming by the house and give.
Oh, I mean, I don't know if it was fentanyl.
I can't remember. I can't remember what the name of it was. I don't think it was actually
No.
fentanyl. Let me see. Yeah, you typed that one up. But yeah, that's one of them things where you're not gonna get a prescription and go by CVS and walk out with no fentanyl.
No.
So it's a prescription drug, but and this stuff and most of this stuff on the street did not come from GlaxoSmithKline or none of these people either. This is lab made,
Yes.
right,
Came from old boy down the street.
right, and he got it from God knows who.
Right. So no, Michael Jackson did not.
And what was he in his system?
Anxiety pill, anti-anxiety and Profilol and Lorenzo.
It was something that he used to go to sleep.
Yeah, that's what I was
that
saying.
he needed to be awakened from.
Right. Or he was going to
He needed to be monitored.
Right.
And
So
he
it was
wasn't
one of
being
those
monitored
medicines.
properly. But
Right.
Prince got the fentanyl, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
See, and I'm
Prince
pretty.
guy, yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yep. That's crazy, right?
It is. It is. And even in Prince's case, you know, like that's another one, man. How do you just can't properly measure something that powerful. It's almost really just too powerful
Right.
for people.
And
You gotta have a PhD to be able to give somebody the right amount of that.
That's what I was gonna say, because to that point, that was the question when Prince got killed, because the accidental overdose came from his doctor, not nobody else. He was administering it. So that's crazy.
Well, but he took it on his own. So this is something that's not supposed to be administered. He wasn't even supposed to have it to take it by itself.
No, because of how easy it is to overdose on
Right.
it. Right.
So you know, somebody already broke the rules by even allowing him to have to dose himself.
Right.
You know, you never seen nobody like I've been in the hospital on a morphine drip before, and I know there was no way on earth that I could give myself the amount of morphine that I wanted. Because, you know, when that pain starts stirring up, you start hitting that button like this, that thing is not going to drip until it's time
Right.
for it to drip. You know what I mean?
It's crazy that they saying that Prince was supposedly have a prescription for Vicodin, but his Vicodin was fake. It was laced with fentanyl.
So that means he didn't get it from a prescription source.
Right.
He got it from the streets.
Or the pharmacy got it from somewhere else. They got slipped in.
If the pharmacy got slipped some fentanyl laced Vicodin and gave it to Prince, you would have already heard about it, because all those people would have been locked up. The pharmacy would be under immense scrutiny right now. Like, you know, pharmacies are changed, so whatever pharmacy he got it from would be done. Like, imagine you pick up some fentanyl laced Vicodin from CVS or Walgreens. Like, it's not gonna happen. You know what I mean?
You're right.
That's some off the street stuff that he got a pill looking like his Vicodin prescription.
Yes.
And, you know, with a little extra kick to it. That's some street level stuff right there.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, man. But it sucks though. It sucks though. Cause, you know, like I said, we got uneducated people trying to dose out something that'll kill you. And they spraying it on everything.
Right. I would like to know what's the difference, or how did they track down the killers? Damn.
Mac Miller?
Yeah.
How they get them
down? Yeah.
Well, the first thing I said is probably a white dude or something.
That's what I was saying. Like, 'cause if you look at
the threat of jail time, you know, make them sing a whole lot louder.
Was Mac Miller the first that they sentenced the dealer who sold it to them? Like, what made?
I don't know. Let me see. I can't say that though. Could have been a black dude. Let me see. Mac Miller, drug dealer. Yeah, it's a white dude.
Yeah, but how did they track him down? Somebody else died.
Let's see. How did they catch him? Drug dealer charged in deadly fentanyl overdose, yada, yada, yada. They claimed a life sentence. His name was Ryan Michael Reeves. He was the middleman who had no idea the counterfeit oxy pills that he provided to a fellow dealer before they killed the rising rapper were laced with fentanyl.
Oh, so they got him too. What's his name?
Ryan Michael Reeves.
Do they show a picture of him?
Yeah.
White guy.
Yeah.
See, so this article over here, this one's from 2021, said that it was somebody else.
Well, this is the guy that gave that dude the drug.
Right. So they went all the way up the chain.
Yeah, I mean, everybody just started snitching. Like, and I'm pretty sure, it probably went something like this, yo. Oh, shoot, Mac Miller's dead. Who was in the room with him? Who was over the house that day? Then you find somebody who's hanging out. Who came by the house? Such came by, such came by, such came by. The police went and talked to all them such and suches. And they said, well, I ain't bring no drugs over there. I ain't bring no drugs over there. And then one dude's like, I want my lawyer. So like, he's probably the dude. So then they pressed him a little bit and got an answer out of him. He's like, okay. I took the drugs over there, but I got it from Michael. Michael who? Michael Rivas? Yada, yada. So it doesn't take long to figure out, where you got it from. And since it was Mac Miller, I'm pretty sure they did a thorough investigation. The kind of investigation that Gangsta Boo probably never find out where that stuff came from she got. I'm just being real. This is America.
Right.
You know what I mean? Shoot, did anybody even get locked up for Prince? They locked you up for Michael Jackson, though, didn't they? They took the doctor to jail.
Right. But no, nobody got locked up for Prince.
Right.
His doctor denied any wrongdoing, and they said they weren't going to try and charge him for that. So it might have been, like he said, allegedly, that it was street pills that Prince had. And they didn't even go down that hole. Lil Peep, Tom Petty.
Tom Petty died of a drug. I remember he died, but I didn't know he died of a drug overdose. Was it fentanyl?
Damn.
Tom Petty.
Yes.
You don't know how it feels.
Tom Petty.
Wow.
Right.
Shit, you got me wanting to see who else. Doggone Luke Bell. He's a country singer, but I've heard of him.
Yeah.
Wow.
What?
No, I'm just Omar from The Wire. That was fentanyl. Did you know that?
Yes. They his guy got time.
Oh, he did?
I think he took a plea or something.
Wow.
But they said he knew he was giving him fentanyl. If I remember correctly, they knew because it happened in Brooklyn.
Man, this article just got pictures on top of pictures of people. I'm like, what are these folks' names?
Lil Peep.
Yeah. I keep seeing this rapper named Lexi Alajay. I don't know who in the hell she was, though.
She died.
Yeah. Daggone Bobby Brown Jr.
Yes.
Got him, too.
Went through that, yes. Whitney.
Was that fentanyl on
Yes.
Whitney? Word.
Bobby Christina.
Was that fentanyl? I always thought that Whitney Houston had a heart attack or something from doing all that cocaine. Yeah, man, this is a scourge on the community right here. And the sad part about it is if you really just think about, like, stop talking about the people that we know and that we heard of, household names.
Right.
Like, people that work in hospitals, morgues, and funeral homes really know how real this thing is. Because, there are a lot of drug addicts, and there always have been. And I can, I'll stand by this for as long as I live. Now, I've never seen a thing take over more people than crack did, but I haven't seen a thing kill more people than fentanyl's killing.
It's crazy. And social standings don't even matter. You can have money or you could be broke as shit.
No, because this is the kind of drug usage that's always been quiet.
Right.
You know, like the kind of people that use like these types of pill type drugs.
Soccer moms and stuff.
Yeah, this is quite a quiet addiction. You know, like think about it. People get drunk, they go get loud, they're always at parties, you know they're drunk, they're making a big fuss. People on cocaine, they can't stop. You know, they're always, you know, they're everywhere. And it's obvious. But this is a quiet addiction for a lot of people. And a lot of people dealing with this, and then you never know.
Right.
Because you don't see them when they're, you know, it's not so much of a social thing. You know, this is something people use quietly in the privacy of their own home to escape. Where, you know, which is a lot different than, you know, cocaine, weed, drinks. These are social drugs that when people do this stuff, a lot of times they, you know, they're around people.
Right.
In a social setting.
Social drugs, like you said.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But this thing right here is quiet, man. So people overdose and they die quietly alone. You get found the next day.
It's terrible.
It is, man.
You get high off this drug. Well, you probably start out getting high on this drug amongst the people, and then when the drug takes effect. You
know, the most common, I've heard this story over and over again. A lot of people have an injury.
Right.
They start off with, you know, with whatever they're prescribed, whether it be an oxy, Vicodin, hydrocodone, whatever.
Right.
And eventually, you know, if the prescription lasts too long. Now, I know this from personal, from having personally been prescribed some opiates before for pain. After the pain goes away, you start feeling the high effect. But when you're in severe pain, it's not like, you know,
you just want to stop.
You just want the pain to stop.
Right.
But then after a while, your body starts getting better and you still got this strong-ass drug at your disposal. And it's really time to stop using it. But then all of a sudden you start recognizing the different feeling that you're getting. And some people like it. And you still have the pain, but you know, it's also a psychological effect of now the pain is I don't want to deal with the pain at all because this drug is so strong. It takes all the pain away. And I mean, you know, and that's kind of unrealistic in some ways to, you know, to be expecting all the pain to be gone all the time. But that's what some people want. All the pain gone all the time. And there comes a point where the doctor's like, look, you've healed enough now and you can live with whatever pain is left. Right. No, I can't live with this pain. I want some more. Well, I'm not giving you any more. Right, psychologically. And they go out looking, you know, that's the most common story I've heard for people who are not necessarily drug users in every other aspect of life who end up looking for street drugs.
Right.
They started off on some pain medicine and they got out of hand. Like even Prince, his story was, you know, through years of all that dancing and stuff, messed his hips up real bad. He was in a lot of pain. He got prescribed something for the pain.
And that's what got him.
Right. And you get so used to not having any pain. Like you think about it, Tylenol, even when you're hurting really bad, Tylenol might dull it. But Tylenol don't take all the pain out of nothing. Neither does Excedrin or Aleve or ibuprofen. You know, if it hurts really bad, the best you're going to get is a little relief. But when you get a oxy, man, you know, for some people, that's the first time in their life that whatever's been nagging them just don't hurt at all.
Because you're knocked out.
Yeah, and you don't, and you know, you get addicted to that feeling. Yes. You know, like suppose you got a bad back you've been dealing with for 6 years, and you taking Tylenol, ibuprofen, and you still used to having that nagging soreness, but it's just not as bad. You take that oxy and it's gone all the way. Oh my God! So
That's all you
of
can do
course
is go
when you
lay
can,
down.
yeah, but when you don't get the oxy no more, of course you might go looking for some heroin after you've gotten used to not feeling pain anymore.
Right.
So people end up out here on the streets. But all I'm gonna tell you, ladies and gentlemen, is just it ain't safe. It ain't safe. It ain't safe.
That ultimate nod.
That ultimate nod. Yeah, I don't even know if there's too much else we can say about fentanyl other than it just ain't safe, man. It's unregulated. It ain't safe. You got no business being promoted in hip hop, any of those hard drugs, because you just rolling the dice at this point. And if you want Pookie and them, if you trust them to give you a proper dosage of anything, then you're playing a fool's game out here. There's a lot of doctors that overdose you by accident. They went to school for years and years and years.
I hope that they infiltrate the pharmacy line of getting people the drugs.
No, I don't think it's gonna get there. Well, I hope it doesn't.
Shit, I don't think they would admit it if it did get there.
They wouldn't have to. You'll know.
Shit.
You would definitely know. Is that about it for a fentanyl episode?
I think so, man. That was about 45 minutes.
Yeah, I think, and we, there's not too much else to say, man, other than, hey, leave that hard stuff alone, yo.
Boosie said it best. Find something else to do with your time, fool.
Yeah, and don't even mess with crack, because if you ain't mess with nothing, don't start crack or fentanyl or heroin or none of that stuff.
Well, he just said if you had that.
Yeah, if you got to have something though.
Yep.
Yeah.
Go back to crack, man.
Go back to crack. But all that stuff is highly addictive, and they'll ruin your life and your relationships. Take all your money, your looks, and your future. You know,
Absolutely.
I seen people spend their whole lives trying to put the pieces back together because they got hooked trying to have fun. Got hooked on something when they were too young. And next thing you know, you're 70 years old, looking back at your life.
Should have did this.
Right, but and we talking about crack and regular old heroin and stuff. Like, shoot, nowadays this stuff right here is so strong, you might not even make it. You had nothing to look back on.
Right.
So,
'cause you only die once.
I know, right? So that's our public service announcement. Anything else you want to add?
That's all I got.
Well, I guess we sit here and drink this Tito's. I'm going to take an aspirin. That's as strong as it gets for me. Well, here's to another episode. Rest in peace, Gangsta Boo, Prince, Tom Petty, Shock G, Mac Miller, Big Scar, Old Dirty, DMX, Pimp C, Whitney Houston, Bobby Christina, Bobby Brown Jr. Drugs. Capital City. I'm Capital J. It's my main man.
DL Glass.
And we out of here.